because we're good people. Doesn't mean we won't kill you. 5 of them aren't back in an hour. I'll put a knife in the base of your skull.
What's up, guys? Matt back again with his weekly Walking Dead review. It's going to be for the penultimate episode of Season 6. One more episode after this. Next week, the season finale is for Season 6, Episode 15, entitled East. This episode mainly focused around two different groups outside the walls. Daryl, he left to to try to track down Dwight and the Saviors. And Rosita, which she knew where he was heading, and Glenn and Michonne, they all went out after him to try to get him back, so he doesn't get himself killed, in the words of Glenn. And the other part of this episode was Rick finding out about Carol leaving through the note that Tobin showed him, that Carol had wrote him, because she had left during the middle of the night at some point. And Rick and Morgan go out and try to find Carol. And it was a cool scene with Carol. She had taken one of the cars with all the spikes out. It was sticking out of it out front. And as she's going, she runs into some Saviors there in this truck, and they shoot her tires out and everything. And then she kind of plays the innocent role and, like, don't hurt me. And they ask her where she's coming from, where she's going. She says, basically nowhere. She's just trying to cover, that she's from a community, or she was leaving a community. And of course they kind of say, well, we already know, you probably right up the street from Alexandria, and so apparently the Saviors know about Alexandria, so the threat looks like it's imminent and everything. But Carol was such a badass, like, just playing the innocent role. She got like a jacket on, with a long sleeve jacket, and she ends up somehow having a gun up her sleeve, which is concealed, and the guys can't see it. And she ends up just shooting all of them. It's pretty epic scene. And all of them are shot except for one guy, or he might be wounded, but he's behind the truck. And Carol ends up finishing him off as well. We don't actually see it, but we can hear it. And I think actually Carol might have got stabbed as well when she shot him, the last guy, but I said we don't know. But because there was some blood like leading away whenever Rick and Morgan got there, when Carol had looked like she had gone through the field, to start walking on foot. But anyways, that was a pretty cool sequence with her taking out the Saviors. I know she doesn't want to kill, but she can if she has to. So you know what I mean. But back in Alexandria, not really much happened. Not that they showed. Carl was in the armory, and he picked up a gun, probably one of the Saviors' guns, that one they probably cleaned out with that armory when they killed all the people at that outpost. But he picks a gun up, and it's kind of like foreshadowing. It's got a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire on the handle, or the handle of the gun. And so just foreshadowing Negan, obviously. And Maggie and Enid have a couple cool scenes in this episode where they're kind of like bonding, almost like sisters, or maybe mother-daughter kind of thing. And Maggie ends up having Enid cut her hair and everything, so that's how she got her short hair. Everybody was freaking out thinking she was gonna die. But anyways, after she cuts her hair, she starts having real bad stomach pains, almost maybe like she's miscarrying or whatever. So that's just not good, And all these people out of Alexandria, she's having her stomach pains and everything. So there's just turmoil everywhere. And when Rick and Morgan are trying to find Carol, they end up going to that field and trying to track the blood. And there's a walker that kind of looks like Carol, but it's not. They take it out and everything. And then at that barn, there's a guy like in an armored suit, and he ends up killing a walker and saying, they're coming, and he bails out. Rick tries to shoot him, but Morgan kind of knocks the gun away, where the bullet goes astray and doesn't hit the guy, So Morgan and Rick take out all the walkers, and then Morgan basically confesses, that he had kept the wolf in Alexandria, trying to, make him change and everything. And Rick at first is really mad about that, but then Morgan is telling him that the wolf saved Denise when there no way out and all that stuff was going on, and because that he saved her, that Denise was able to save Carl. And then of course, his all life is precious, everything gets a return. His little speech, which I think kind of touched Rick a little bit. He kind of understands, especially when he says, mentioned Carl, and but whatnot. So here's the normal little spiel, and then he basically tells Rick, go ahead and go back to Alexandria and get ready for the fight. If the saviors do come, and he'll stay out there and try to find Carol, and Rick does tell Morgan, and he goes, yes, it was Michonne. She did take your protein bar. Little joke from the season 6 premiere whenever he asked Michonne, did you take my protein bar when you're... So it was kind of the one little lighthearted moment of the scene. But he asked Morgan, you're coming back, right? And he said, yeah, I'll come back. But if I don't come out looking for me. So, kind of crazy there. But anyways, like I said, the Daryl stuff, Rosita and Glenn and Michonne end up catching up to Daryl. He almost shoots Rosita. He hears something, he's out with his crossbow. He hears something off in the woods, and he shoots at what he thinks is probably one of the saviors, but ends up being Rosita, but he misses, and it sticks to the tree next to her. And then, he's basically tells him, y'all shouldn't have followed me and everything. I got to take care of this on my own. And they're trying to convince him to come back. This isn't smart. You're gonna get yourself killed and everything. And Daryl's just, he's like, I don't care. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. So basically, he walks off, and then Rosita's like, she agrees with him, so she goes goes with Daryl. Then they both walk off, and then Glenn and Michonne, they look like they're gonna go back to Alexandria. But not too long after they separate, they're surrounded by the saviors and Dwight, and they end up capturing Glenn and Michonne. And then the end of the episode, you see Glenn and Michonne gagged and tied up around this little campfire. There's a couple of saviors at the campfire and everything, and then you see the perspective of Daryl. And Daryl and Rosita are looking at them at a distance, and Daryl thinks he's gonna take out those the two savior guys that can be seen by the campfire. He's got a crossbow all up and aimed, and you see Glenn and Michonne kind of frantically no, it's a trap. You can tell by their body language and how they were trying to talk, but of course they were gagged. And sure enough, Daryl's got his sights set on one of the saviors with his crossbow, and then Dwight and another savior come up behind Rosita and Daryl. The one savior, he's got a gun on Rosita, and then Dwight's right behind Daryl with his gun pointing at him. He says, "Hi, Daryl," and you just tell Daryl's like, "Fuck," So as soon as Daryl starts to kind of turn around to look at Dwight, the episode ends with a gunshot, bullets splatter on the screen, and it fades to black, and Dwight says, "It's okay, you'll be all right." So yeah, guys, it was a pretty awesome setup episode, penultimate episode for season 6. The finale is gonna be 90 minutes. They set up a lot of good things, so I can't wait to see how they tie everything up. And of course, we know we're getting Negan next week, so can't wait to see how that scene goes down. That's gonna be a pretty epic scene. Interested to see how if Morgan finds Carol and what's going to go on there and everything. Oh, also I forgot to mention one of the saviors that in the truck that Carol had shot at and everything. He was wounded, but he didn't die, and he ended up following Morgan and Rick, and he grabbed Carol's rosary. So in the episode after Rick left, you can still see that guy. He's basically following Morgan. So that's gonna come back around in the finale too. I'm sure he'll probably end up trying to kill Morgan. And I just think Morgan on the finale might have to kill somebody just out of necessity, so he doesn't. I don't know. I think he's my prediction is Morgan will kill a human to save Carol or himself something like that. I think he's gonna be forced to have to do it, because like Rick told him, sometimes you have no choice, you have to kill. So I don't know. Like I said, we'll see what happens with that, and we'll see what happens with Daryl. Daryl's fate, in my opinion, he's alive. He just got shot in the shoulder, but he will be captured, and he will be in the lineup for Negan whenever he makes his big arrival. So, like I said, appreciate you checking this out as always, guys. And I'll be back next week with the season finale review, and I'll also be back sometime later this week with, I'm sure that we'll have confirmed spoilers for the finale at some point this week. So I definitely will be coming back for that and posting videos so you guys can check it out for your viewing pleasure, especially the spoiler junkies. So like me, I got to see the spoilers. That's always, of course, I'm always gonna watch it, but I like to know what happens. I don't like to wait, So, like I said, as always, you guys are great. Appreciate you checking me out, and I will see you guys on the next video.
Welcome to Woodburn.